Good afternoon, everyone. We may disagree that good policies are a solution for everything, but I think we do agree that bad policies are a problem for everything else. So most of our work is to try and promote a context where good policies are more likely and bad policies are less likely. And that's the work we've been doing for quite a while. Not just in Africa, but also in Asia and in Latin America. But helping promote good policies and avoid bad policies requires, in the context of a developing country, a two-pronged approach. Yes, we do research, we do analysis, we provide the findings to policymakers and stakeholders, while at the same time building the capacities locally for locally based research. The reason being, policymaking is a daily business. It's very difficult to support from outside. But if we build the capacities internally, then we can have somebody who is not just a better partner for us, but also is at hand to provide answers when those questions come from the policymakers. A little bit more in Africa, where we spend more than 50% of our resources, where we have two regional offices, several country offices in all the largest countries, coming up with new ones in Egypt and in Senegal, but also in Nigeria, in Ghana, we're in DRC, we're in Ethiopia, as we just heard from my colleague, Paul Dorosh. One major example of how IFPRI works in Africa is the support we brought to the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program, which, as all of you know, is now a 10-year-old effort, which goes back to the visions and the leaderships of President Thabo Mbeki, Olusegun Obasanjo, Abdoulaye of Senegal, and Bouteflika of Algeria, who were tired of not seeing enough accountability in the way people were managing the African economies, who were not very pleased with the partnership between Africa and the rest of the world. So they came up with a very bold program, committing to raising investments and improving policies. And the question was, how do you move from there to action? We invested heavily with data, with policies, with partnership, working with our colleagues on the ground, working with non-researchers, policymakers, non-state actors to improve the evidence base of policymaking, which is not just data, it's not just analysis, but also the practice of reviewing, assessing progress together, and improving the way business is being done. We have several products that are well known across Africa. We have the regional strategic analysis and knowledge support systems at the regional level, tracking indicators for progress, documenting weaknesses and strengths, and allowing countries to learn from one another. Another good example is the African Growth and Development Policy Modeling Consortium, where we have helped create a large number of world-class modelers across Africa, about 200 of them from about 30 countries. We are setting up GIS-based databases to track hundreds of indicators of policy and programs to help improve action. So we do think that policies in Africa are today stronger than ever. That explains the recent good track record in terms of economic and agricultural growth that we have seen. But we also know that African countries have lost several decades, the 70s and the 80s of stagnation. So the recent good growth is not good enough. There's a lot of making up to be done that requires even better policies, even stronger capacities on the ground. It requires IFPRI to continue to work at the local level with our partners. We will make what we can to make sure that the knowledge needs for better policies in African countries continues to be met, either through our direct research or through the research of those whom we help with data, with methodology, with tool to carry out the analysis that are needed. We take good pleasure in having been part of the recent story in Africa. And we know that the recent progress has to be sustained and has to be broadened. And we do know that better policies are a great part of it, and we're happy to have seen the success we have had on the ground over the last few years, and we look forward very much to continuing to do that. I know my Director General thanked all our partners on the ground. I would like to repeat it here again, and we do look forward to another 40 years in Africa with the same enthusiasm, the same engagement and commitment. Thank you.